How many hearts have you broken with those great big beautiful eyes? Those great big beautiful eyes that tell such beautiful lies.
How many times have you kissed somebody like you kissed me then? I don't.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and all ships at sea. We interrupt this broadcast to bring you an important message from the Prepared Mind Network.
Well, hello again, everybody. Welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. That's right. And it is more like the Prepared Mind Network. We are everywhere. And what we want to do is invite everyone to join us. Everyone, well, of sound mind, relatively high IQ. In other words, possessing common sense. And folks, common sense isn't as common as you and I would think. Nope. We've been seeing a lot of tragedy as of late. We've been seeing tragic years of stupidity. And we dodged one hell of a bullet, getting Kamala Harris put back where she came from, putting her head down and going to work somewhere else. In any event, folks, the tools of evil, right? Destroy. Tools of construction, build to make things better. Critical race theory was introduced years ago. It was pushed into schools, university, and they manufactured a story that tears down the culture, traditions, and laws we have and creates an alternative narrative. Right? Our future was being driven in that same direction, but rather than looking backwards with critical race theory, it was looking forward. And that would be environmental, social governance, along with diversity, equity, and inclusion. Okay, those were pushing a future on us that's unnatural, that goes against our culture, traditions, history, and law. And critical race theory sought to destroy our cultural history, traditions, and law. How does this work in real life? Well, right now, Los Angeles is having a little bit of a fire issue. If I remember correctly, being a former Californian myself, having born in Los Gatos, California, folks, you're not allowed to have a barbecue. In fact, just last week, somewhere in the news, someone got a ticket because their barbecue, that's right, they had a barbecue. It was polluting the air. I believe in LA, you're not allowed to have a charcoal briquette barbecue. Have you seen the fucking smoke over LA? They probably just lit off the equivalent of billions of barbecues all at once. Literally all at once. The amount of filth that goes into the air from burning homes, forests. And they say, hey, no getting any of those briquettes. That's just too dirty. Right? Anyways, critical race theory, diversity, equity, inclusion, environmental, social governance. In 2023, the city of Los Angeles decided they needed a Bureau of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. And they promoted a lesbian woman, a black lesbian woman, to weed out the bigoted firefighters on the force. Is it the Force? I mean, this isn't a fucking Star Wars movie. Aren't they called fire companies? So they wanted to weed out the bigoted firefighters in the companies. I'm telling you, mainstream media, they need to learn how words work. Welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. That's how that works. Instead of getting competent, capable, skilled, well-trained, strong, energetic, dare I say, caring firemen, and put in a bunch of immature, narcissistic, selfish jackasses. Oh, by the way, yeah, they also fired a shit ton of people in the fire departments around Los Angeles for not taking the Jim Jones juice. Well, I would rather have a bunch of bigoted firefighters that did a great job, regardless of color or age, as long as they put out fires and did a good job at it. Instead, we got penis hating, America hating, culture hating, bigoted bureaucrats. Oh, it's unbelievable, folks. Unbelievable. Have you been watching this? This, I believe, oh, by the way, it is my opinion that these fires in Los Angeles are acts of terrorism committed by anti-American, shall we say, terrorist organizations. What is less expensive? A bomb or a gun? Well, a gun is less expensive than a bomb. It takes a lot of money and manufacturing and special equipment to create a bomb. But, guns are relatively easy and cheap and all legal. Well, what's less expensive? A gun or one round of ammunition? Well, the one round of ammunition is obviously less than a firearm. What's less expensive, one round of ammunition or one match? Well, the match is less expensive than one round of ammunition. When a match is purposely placed in lighting, shall we say, junk cardboard, wood, tinder on fire, and then that catches into bushes, trees, wildfire, gets into houses, forests, developments, cities. Well, now we see how much more effective one match is compared to a bullet or a gun or even a bomb. The amount of damage that can be done. In other words, the amount of terror. People are terrorized because the fires aren't being stopped. And I think there was 3 of them. I saw a high altitude photography, video photography over California of the fires starting and pluming and filling the entire Los Angeles basin full of disgusting smoke and filth. Terrorism. Does terrorism come from goofy people around the world who wear diapers on their heads? Or does terrorism come from people whose mindset is critical race theory, diversity, equity, inclusion, and environmental social governance? The answer is both. Both. It's all terrorism, folks. And get this, down in Los Angeles, a Democrat bureaucrat. Isn't that a great coin terms? Because I don't believe if this person was Republican, they would have done what I'm about to tell you. The person who is responsible for making sure there was water in Los Angeles to fill the reservoirs, to make sure there's water running to fire hydrants. That person makes $750,000 per year to sit in a desk and tell other people to go secure water contracts. That's their job. You go get water from Nevada. You get water from Northern California. You get water from Idaho. You get water from, right? Get water. Get water. That's your fucking job. $750,000 a year. The city's highest paid employee is the procurer of H2O. But guess what? That highest paid employee didn't fill the reservoirs. There's a lack of water to fight the fires. And it is yet one more example of, well, we need to feel good about stuff. You see why we don't need liberals and Democrats and liberal white women in positions of authority and liberal lesbians in a position of authority? Because what do they care about? And liberal bitches like Gavin Newsom, probably, well, Democrat failure after failure after failure after failure. Now I'm going to bring it on and ask you this question. This is a John follow-up question. For all those people in Los Angeles. Do you think they were prepared for what was coming? Do you think they had a bug out plan? Do you think they had their lives organized? Do you think they had food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self? Do you think they had any of that? Or do you think they were going to just wait till the last second? People have lost their lives, their businesses, their jobs. Thousands and tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, and maybe even millions are going to lose. In fact, I'm going to say it is millions throughout the greater Los Angeles area. Millions are going to lose jobs, lives, families, and fortunes over this. Why? Because Governor Newsom wanted a 6-inch fish, a smelt, to live. Not the beautiful rainbow trout or the jeweled salmon. Nope, the smelt. Yes, folks. There's a lot of questions about what is happening in this world, and we know who's messing it up. Get your questions down below in the comments. We've got Facebook, we got X, we've got thepreparedmind.club, and we've got what? You guessed it, subscribestar.com. Now, the preparedmind.club and subscribestar.com are great, shall we say, independent of the major social media companies, independent premium sources or access to get your premium support for the channel, and I really appreciate it. We all appreciate it when people send me private messages all the time and say thank you, and thank you. I read the public messages and say thank you for doing what you do. Damn right we do what we do. Now, the world, folks, is in big trouble. We all know there's a fucking problem. But Florida convened a grand jury to investigate Jim Jones juice manufacturers. You know, Big Pharma. And guess what? They found no evidence of criminal activity. No evidence. No criminal indictments. Folks, in the 1970s, they said, oh my God, we've got the swine flu. Everyone go out and get the swine juice. 3 people died, and they canceled the program immediately. There were numerous lawsuits over the injuries. But here we are 40 years later, folks. Millions of deaths, millions and millions of injuries. No problem. There's nothing wrong here. There is no problem. Everything was just fine and normal. How can millions and millions of people be dead, partially injured, fully injured, maimed, lifetime injuries? And we didn't find nothing. Even though they found stuff, they still said, no crime here. I guess if I just drive down the freeway and run people over and well, I didn't see it. Is a jury going to say, well, John didn't see it. He didn't know what was going on. Everything must be fine then, right? I'm starting to think that Fannie Willis slipped down into Florida here and handpicked the jury pool. I say that the grand jury needs to have their bank accounts reviewed. I really do. I am starting to wonder if there's going to be ever any justice anywhere on this fucking planet. Good golly. All right. Everyone in the world, well, outside of America, says Elon Musk is a threat to democracy. He's a danger to national sovereignty worldwide. He's affecting elections in England and Germany because he is speaking. That's incredible, right? Right. Except for one particular leader. Now, of course, it's not the people. It's not the Frenchman. It's not El Spaniardo. right? It's not the Germanic dude drinking a big Hoffenstein brewski. No, it's the politicians. Why is it that we're normal people, yet the people that get into politics are fucking idiots, willing to sell us out? Anyways, we're starting to see that change. The Italian Prime Minister, Meloni, right? Meloni, she says George Soros is the problem and not Elon Musk. No, of course, I agreed instantly. But then I thought, and I wanted to ask you guys, why is this news? How is that news? I mean, doesn't everyone know that George Soros is the problem and not Elon Musk? That Elon Musk is speaking out loud for everyone to hear. George Soros makes deals behind closed doors and whispers in people's ears and gives them money. So how can free speech and open speech be wrong and a danger? Right? When you think about common sense, folks, we really get a sense of how far we have fallen as a nation and as a world, in fact, under liberalism and socialism. These people are amazing morons. And I don't mean that in a joking sense. They're truly morons. And they're not getting any better or brighter. They're not. They're not. Oh, I tell you. Welcome to 2025, folks. It has started. It has started. This is considered the most destructive fire in Los Angeles history. I guess they need to go talk to Chicago about that cow that knocked over a lantern 100 years ago and burned down the city. In any event, this is one I don't know because I've never been faced with this question. The Laken Riley Act, which was written to throw out of this nation any scumbag, illegal, and I think legal, that has committed sexual offenses. The Democrats refused to vote for it. I guess they like foreign rapists running around the country. But it passed. It passed. And now the Senate has decided to advance the Laken Riley Act. So now it goes over to the president's. Well, right now it's President Biden, if he's at the Oval Office, at the Resolute desk in Washington, D.C. But if he doesn't touch it, if he doesn't address it, does it stay on the desk and wait for President Trump? Or is he going to sign it and pretend to be magnanimous and giving a fuck about the people of America? Well, I can tell you, I don't know what he's going to do, and I don't really know if Trump gets the piece of legislation. They can always just pass it again. How hard is it to say, here's 5 pieces of paper. It's a law to protect America from illegals with violent criminal histories and records. How fucking hard is this to know this is what you do to them? You throw them out of the fucking country. You don't let them in, and if they sneak in, you throw them the fuck out. If they sneak in again, death penalty. If we could just save one life, it's worth trading every one of their lives. Because you bet that every one of these illegals that has had a violent criminal history and rape is going to do it again. And their life is not worth the life or the innocence of any American. But Joe Biden, if he doesn't sign it, they'll just pass it again and put it right back across Trump's desk. I thought that that's what Congress did all year long. Write a little law, pass it. Write a little law, it fails. Pass, fail, pass, fail. But instead they wait till the end of the year. They do jack shit all year. Well, I guess they have their fucking coke and drug parties, and then I don't even know how this works. Congressional orgies. That is not a film I want to watch. But if they did like just a couple of bills here and there, they would get it all done in a year. Not like the lawyers don't have anything to do already. By the way, Washington, D.C. is full of flaggots. The cup overfloweth with them, folks. Overfloweth. All right, let's continue here on the thought, though. But President Biden, it's now passed. It should go to his desk. Does he give a shit about America? You all know the answer, right? You know the answer. The answer is no. California's burning. The biggest fire disaster in the Los Angeles basin. And it's a big fucking hole in the ground, folks. Right? From the time you come over 5 down the Grapevine, or if you sneak around on the coastal highway, and it just goes forever. And what does Biden do? He looks at California, he says, fuck it. And he turns around 180 degrees, faces Ukraine, and throws another $500 million at them. Not a word about what they're going to do for California. Not a fucking word, folks. Not a word. And something else kind of got to me here on this. A lot of these areas, Pacific Palisades, Beverly Hills, Hollywood Hills, they're all being consumed in fire. Along the coast even also. Coastal, right on the ocean, beautiful homes being destroyed. Lives being destroyed. Didn't we have a month ago, a little more, like right after P. Diddy was arrested and Trump was elected, wasn't there like 12 or 15 houses caught fire? Just dots, not right next to each other, all over the place, where these left-wing entertainment, Hollywood media, music assholes live. They just burn their fucking houses. Interesting how when that happened, let's just say it was 12 houses. They didn't all spread out and burn down the whole fucking city. No, the fire department showed up and I guess in time put them all out. No conflagration. The whole city didn't burn down back then. It's just a house fire here and a house fire there. Lost house, lost house, lost house. I've got questions. Did any of these houses have a blue roof? The reason I ask that is after all of these houses and areas, especially along the coast, over in the hills, when they're done burning, when the smoldering embers finally quit releasing carbon dioxide into the air, when that's done, who's going to own that real estate? Especially along the coast. Is Oprah Winfrey going to buy that up like they did in Maui after Maui burned in Lahaina, Los Angeles? I don't think it's a bad question to ask, right? There's a lot of observations going on out there, folks. I want to ask you, is this correct or incorrect? That it wasn't really the wildfires that are destroying Los Angeles. It is the idiotic, radical, liberal obsessions that helped make these fires unstoppable. How about these ideas? Jim Jones juice. Is that responsible for the fires getting out of hand? Well, it could be. There's one for the correct, in my opinion, because they fired the firemen. Fired firemen because they wouldn't take the Jim Jones juice. How about the homelessness problem in California? Well, I don't know. I guess that's arguable. What do the homeless do? Well, could they be the ones who lit the fires, or was it terrorists? We're not going to know because no one's going to admit it. I think it was terrorism. I think that's wrong. But homelessness, they live in all manner of crazy places. They litter and throw their trash. They live a very unsanitary life in the condition they're in. It's awful, but it probably contributed. How about diversity, equity, inclusion? Oh, yeah, right off the bat. That's a big win. That's another liberal obsession. Climate extremism, another liberal obsession. What's climate extremism? Don't go in the forest. Don't touch the forest. Forest management. And yeah, there's truly forests up there, folks. Making sure that, underbrush isn't around. It needs to be cleared out. Or this is what happens. Unstoppable fires. Climate extremism. The Jim Jones juice. Homelessness. Open borders. Well, even Ukraine, I think, is to blame. How can Ukraine be blamed for what's going on in the fires in California, you might ask? Well, we're busy sending all our money elsewhere. There is no money. No sirree, Bob. There's no money to spend on what? Building reservoirs, getting water in the reservoirs. There's no money to pay for the things we need paid for here because we're busy giving money to illegal aliens and imported terrorists and sending the rest of our money overseas. And as soon as we say no more money for you, government, the first thing they say is, well, no police, no parks, no schools. We're going to shut all the things down that you actually use as people. I'm surprised the fucking government didn't say something as stupid as, well, if we have a government shutdown, we're going to have to close all the roads. Unbelievable, folks. Unfucking believable. These people are all worthless assholes. Every last leftist one of them. Literally, every last leftist one of them. The fucking mayor there in LA, folks. She is an incompetent fucking moron. She basically lashed out at reporters. She ignored reporters. She ran away. And she actually said this, that slashing fire department funding had no impact. I mean, they just couldn't find firefighters? Now, here's the upshot on that. Of course, it is never, ever, ever, ever any Democrat's responsibility for what happens as a result of their policies, which are usually, I'm going to say 100% of the time, misguided, emotionally based, illogical, stupid concepts about how they want the world to work, not dealing with reality, and this is how the world works. That is why, and I'm circling back, someone tell Jen Psaki, this is how you do it. Right? They look back at history and say, we're going to fix this with critical race theory. And then they look forward and say, we're going to fix this with diversity, equity, inclusion, and environmental, social governance. How environmental is what fucking happened down in LA and is happening and is going to continue to happen? It is Democrat policy that destroys the environment. Once again, not 10 or 20 or hundreds or even thousands of acres. It was millions of acres and billions of dollars in real estate and resources that Gavin Newsom burned up in California in forest fires because they don't manage the forests. And they don't make sure we have the necessary fire protection and fire protection equipment. But don't worry, they'll make sure you've got everything in your house you need that cost 100 times too much. And they'll make you fucking pay for it too. But as far as the government's concerned, it never makes a mistake. It's never wrong. Just us. Just us. Good golly, folks. Well, I'll tell you what, it's going to be a hell of a show. Be sure on YouTube type channels, thumbs up. Be sure on social media that has a little heart. You click the heart, right? Heart or thumbs up, whatever you got. Make sure you repost, share the internet address. Make sure people come here and wake the hell up. The people in LA that are out of their homes, Whether they're just evacuated for now or they're going to lose them forever. Food, probably an important thought. Water. Yeah, LA needs some water. Shelter. Clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. Things are not going to be pretty down there, folks. You want to talk about a Mad Max scenario. Mad Maxine Waters, that is one of her, well, she has a home down there. I believe that's where she claims her district is that she represents. Wow, what a shit show. Are you prepared, folks? Oh, there's a lot more. There's a lot more. Very frustrating. Very, very frustrating. And this is just one small piece of the world, folks. That's just LA. You should see the shit that's going on in the Bay Area, Portland, Seattle, the shit that's going on down on the border next to Mexico. This is just new news, so it's more exciting. America is not getting burned at the border in Texas, New Mexico, and Arizona. It's getting trampled. In England, literally in the past 10 years, over 250,000 little girls have been kidnapped and raped by Muslim rape gangs that follow them, kidnap them, or get them drunk and then kidnap them, and go take them and keep them as hostages in a house while every single last stinking member of their gangs rapes them for days. It is awful. It is horrifying. And the government wants to allow it. That's right. The Prime Minister of England told his political party that controls Parliament in England, no inquiry, no investigation. Don't do it. We don't want to look into this. Unbelievable, folks. Hey, Mr. Uman, what do we want to discuss here today? What's on everyone else's mind? Name redacted says the dumb fucker voters of California could have had Larry Elder and a Coke and a smile, but in the words of De Niro, they blew it. Yeah. California is its own worst enemy. It always has been. La La Land. California. Just an incredible, comfortable climate. Incredible landscapes. Beaches. Hills, mountains. Incredible agriculture. Forests that have been used in movies because they look so out of this world, from the redwood forest to the great sequoias. One of the most beautiful natural parks on the planet, Yosemite, right there in California. It's got volcanoes. One of them's active even. Does anyone know that? Mount Shasta and Mount Lassen up north. It's got one of the most incredible deserts, Death Valley. It has its own space base, some of the biggest, most interesting, weird-ass cities on the planet. But it's an easy life there, an easy lifestyle. So what do? They fucking destroy everything with liberalism. They do. There's so much money in California. They're just like, well, let's just tax the shit out of everybody and give it back to ourselves. It's a Democrat heaven. And it may as well break off into the ocean because it's all worthless the way these liberals treat everything. Once again, they look back at history. They won't learn from it, but they'll change history with their critical race theory in order to make people believe that never happened. It was never that way. It was always, America evil, Republicans evil. Yeah. White culture evil. Look at all the redeeming culture that comes out of India and Pakistan and Southeast Asia. Look at all the great culture coming out of Africa, North and South. Nothing but misery, death, slavery. Look at how Unbelievable. But we should hate ourselves. Good golly. Yep, California, folks. Just another prime example. I mean, if you want upper Midwest and fucked up, you got Illinois. You want East Coast New England fucked up? Take a look at, well, shit, you got more than just New York. You got Rhode Island and Connecticut and Massachusetts. Look the fuck out. Anyways, let's continue. Mr. Uman, who do we have next? What is the concept? And it is John Wendell off of the Facebook site. And he says, Cali's always been a shit show for wildfires. Well, it has, John. I wonder if you live there or have lived there. Back when they actually did logging in California, logging, going in with chainsaws and cutting trees down, cutting the limbs off of them, cutting the logs up into appropriate lengths to put on trucks to haul out of the mountains. And it went down to lumber mills and created jobs, raw materials, building materials. And then folks, when they'd log the forests, they would take the tractors, the bulldozers, and they would scrape and clean up the forest floors. And they would make piles of debris. And then when the ground was wet and it was cold and it was winter, they burn it at that point so that there wouldn't be any fuel sitting on the ground for fools to light on fire. It was called forest management. Now, back when I was a kid, yes, there were forest fires. There were, from here and there and time, there'd be a forest fire. It'd burn 100 acres. Hell, a forest fire would burn a couple thousand acres. That was a big one. But the California Fire Departments, CDF, California Department of Forestry, they would show up with airplanes and they'd show up with tractors and water trucks. Firefighters by the hundreds would show up and they would backburn and do control, and they would stop them after a couple of days, after a couple thousand acres, and that's all it would take. We've had this fire going in Los Angeles where apparently there's enough people there that they could probably, have firefighters. And it's Los Angeles. You would think they have equipment all over the place. Bulldozers and tractors and excavators and loaders and backhoes. They could probably build some, berms, create fire breaks. You think they would do a little bit of maybe something, do anything. Yeah, California is a shit show for fires. It hasn't always been the way it has been the last 20 years. But there's always been fires there. I mean, what the hell? It's a huge state. It's got giant mountains and lots of lightning storms in the summer. But, I mean, even where I lived before I moved, you could see. Lightning strike. Hits a mountain. You see a little puff of smoke come up. About 10, 15 minutes later, a plane flies by, spots it, makes sure everything's good. If not, there's a fire crew there in 1 hour. I've seen them put fires out real fast. It's not difficult. They have lookout towers all over the state, literal lookout towers. And somebody gets paid to climb up in that tower and look out. Wow. All right. Thank you, John. I appreciate that. Mr. Uman, who is next, my man? And it's Chin Music. I can't believe you're going there. It's not too soon, man. It's not too soon. Chin Music says, tomorrow's headline in the Los Angeles Times, the LA Times, the rag of West Coast toiletry. Here's the headline, folks. Trump prepares Holocaust on fish because he wants water in Los Angeles and doesn't give two shits about the smelt. A fish about that long. Smelt. Which isn't even indigenous to the region, by the way. Yeah, they're an invasive species. An invasive species fish, and they don't want to risk losing it. But when I lived in California at Lake Davis, up in Northern California, Lake Davis, somebody put some northern pike in there, and they were eating the trout. Not the smelt, the trout. They were eating the pets. Anyways, so they tried draining the lake. That didn't get rid of the northern pike. So then they decided they were going to poison all the fucking fish in the lake. So they filled a reservoir with enough poisonous material to supposedly kill all the northern pike. California folks. So the next year, the reservoir fills back up. Lake Davis fills back up with water from snow melt and rivers and such. And lo and behold, after they plant the lake with trout, northern pike are back. Somehow they either lived through it or their little eggies hatched. But that is how things work, folks. Unbelievable. Yeah, Trump is going to kill all the fish. He wants to kill the fish. He wants to save Los Angeles, stop the burning, stop the loss, stop the damage, stop the loss of life, loss of wealth. But we need, Holocaust. They'll use words like Holocaust, to tie Trump to Hitler, right? Does everyone know that a lot of the people that ran the so-called death camps for Hitler were Jewish? Does everyone know that? Everyone realize that? That Jews were killing their own kind, if you will, for Hitler? Hitler knew they were Jewish. Kind of odd, don't you think? And there's certain types of Jews. They have certain types of names, like Sephardic. And the other kind that I'll just bring up here is Ashkenazi. Let me say that again. Ashkenazi. Nazi. Odd. Folks, there's so much more to this world than anyone's even prepared to talk about and look at. I really thought I would go down the rabbit hole with you guys today, but I'm not going to do it. All we get is lies out of government. All we get is lies. Bullshit and lies. All right, Mr. Oliver, let's continue if we shall. I appreciate that one. Chin music. There is so much going on behind the scenes, folks. Mikey G says, is Oprah buying property again? Wow. First off, there's an administrative process to buying people's property after emergencies. It was amazing, was it not, that when Lahaina, Maui, Hawaii burned, the government told the people, you cannot go back and build on your property again. Since when does the fucking government have the authority to do that? You have the rights of the people and the authority of the government. The rights of the people and the authority of the government. But the government thinks its authority is always higher than our rights. So yeah, they said you can't go back to your property. They're still keeping people out of Lahaina. Did you know that? Maui, Hawaii is nothing like any city over here. It's an island, got a large volcano, it's inactive, but it's got like a road that goes from Kahului through the middle of the island, and it can turn left and go to Kihei or turn right and go to Lahaina. And that's really about it for excitement. Right? It's just, when I was there last, years ago, 2018, they were building like a bypass highway system so that you didn't have to go through like the touristy part. I mean, what else? What other reason are you there for except to go do the touristy shit? In any event, they just shut it all down. It's dead. They went through all the trouble of doing all that work just to burn it down and then tell people you can't go back. I guess you still have to get up there to, on the other side of Lahaina is a little more to the northwest is Keanapali. There's, I guess the highway is still there. You just can't get off of it. These people, yeah, I'm wondering what's going to happen, especially on beachfront property that's burned, especially in the Hollywood Hills and the other hills, right? Pacific Palisades. That just sounds really important and it's fancy, doesn't it? Yeah, they're just going to take that from people. Oh, there's one more thing in this that I read about. The insurance companies went to the state of California and said, we need to raise insurance rates because we're not getting enough money to cover all the damage that happens, I believe, from fires. And Gavin Newsom, the jackass jackal of jerk-offs, that would be the JJJ. The jackass jackal of jerk-offs is a JJJ, kind of like the Jim Jones juice. That jackass said no. And so the insurance company said, we're not insuring properties in certain areas. I think like Pacific Palisades. So those homeowners didn't have insurance. I don't know how many thousands of them didn't. But what I want you to do is tune in to ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, MSNBC, CNBC, and listen if you hear anyone talking about how Gavin Newsom fucked up the insurance for California homeowners so that they couldn't get it. See, the blame will never be placed squarely at the feet of those responsible. That's why you need to be prepared. SHTF, food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. Because at any point, the government can just step out and go, hey, we don't give a fuck. Not our problem. Deal with it. And then what? You're responsible for yourself. Where do you live, right? We've got a hurricane coming in Florida. Not right now, everyone, don't panic. Hurricane's coming. The governor here gets the resources in place and takes care of the issue. California has an emergency. The governor goes and stands in front of a camera for a photo op and says, I can't do shit about it. I don't know why. I think this is a quote. I don't know why there's no water for the fire hydrants and the firemen. I don't know. How can he not know? How can he stand in front of the camera and say, I don't know, it's not my fault, it's not my responsibility. Gee whiz, I'm really sorry, this sucks. That's what one of us would say because we've got no authority. That mofo, that piece of shit, has all kinds of authority and power and money. And what has he done? Not a fucking thing. I mean, in New York, Kathy Hochul's like, yeah, in our state, we'll burn you alive on a train. And like Gavin Newsom's like, hold my beer. I'm going to burn a whole fucking city down. All right, who's next? Man says, Heidi. On X says, it's a purge by wind and fire. I don't know if you guys have ever been around fires. They create their own updrafts, right? They create their own wind because you have so much roaring fire and heat rises. I've seen it in a forest fire, folks, that took off. I was driving on the eastern side of the Sierra Nevada. It was a very long, straight highway, and I saw smoke come out of the forest. This is like 20, 25 miles down the road. Smoke come out, and then a big plume of heat, and it went straight up and penetrated a cloud. It just blew right through it, like I guess you could imagine a rocket. It just blew through it like it created a big donut. The heat really rises, creates its own wind, and look out, right? That said, knowing that that's what fires can do, it's interesting. Up until Gavin Newsom, the state of California could put a fire out. Except for remember when Oakland burned? Does anyone remember that? Oakland Hills? The Oakland Hills fire. Those are very steep hills. They call it Oakland because they got lots of little crispy leaves that go up and how about now, Oliver? All good? Okay, we're back. All good? Okay, thank you. Yeah, the Oakland fire, Oakland Hills. Same story. Inside of a city where there's tons of water, tons of resources, tons of people, and they can't put a fire out. That's kind of the helplessness of liberalism, right? Big liberal city burns to the ground. Big liberal city burns to the ground. Liberal border city gets flooded. Republican border city, it's a shooting gallery. That's how it ought to be right there. That's how it ought to be. Step right up, hit a target, win a prize. All right, man, who's up next? We've got a great crowd today. And Trump guy on X says, seeing Trump and Obama being friendly at Carter's funeral. I thought of your comment yesterday, Uman. Are we being fooled? Well, the old boss is the same as the new boss is the same as the old boss. I don't know. Trump was being friendly. If Trump was a rude dickhead to Obama and Bill Clinton and Mike Pence and every other worthless, washed up piece of fuck politician, if he went in there and just started bitch slapping people like the Three Stooges, what do you think the media would say about Trump? Yeah, they would completely attack him. He's not worthy of being a president. He's a this, he's a. So now, Trump, does he have to be rude to them? Does he need to be rude to them? He knows who they are. I know who they are. If I know who they are, you know who these people are. Surely Trump knows who they are. Now, is Trump at an MMA fight? Is he at a UFC fight? No, he's at a fucking funeral for a former president. So you would think that they would need to be on their best behavior. They would need to be polite to one another. Now personally, I couldn't do it. Trump has his entire life dealt with government, bureaucracies, bankers, lawyers. He's been in a million fucking lawsuits. He's used to being around, standing around, and talking to people that fucking hate him and that he probably doesn't like. Am I incorrect? Could we be being fooled? The answer is yes. It could be one giant shit show, and they're all on the same team, and we're just a bunch of fucking idiots. But if that's the case, knowing there's cameras there, knowing we would all see the cameras and the way they treat each other, why would they do that? Why would they allow their game to be revealed? It's something so fucking mundane and stupid as a fucking funeral. Or, according to Occam's razor, based on what we know about Trump, is the simplest answer the one that makes the most sense. That is that he's been attacked his whole fucking life by lawyers, politicians, bureaucrats. I'm sure he's had to deal with people who work in the world of bribery and graft and shady business dealings. I'm sure he's been around really shitty, awful government people, contractors, subcontractors, suppliers, and he's got to have a pretty smile on his face to get the job done, right? The art of the deal. How can you get in close to your enemy and put a knife in their back if you look like you're there to put a knife in their back? Perhaps that smirk and smile that Barack Hussein, Barry Soetoro Obama, the Kenyan in chief, who produced a fake fucking birth certificate saying he was born in Hawaii that looks like a kindergartner fucking cut and pasted shit on a fucking Photoshop program. Perhaps he wasn't telling a joke. Perhaps Trump said something like, better be careful, Barack. We may have your fucking ass in the fucking sling pretty soon. And Barack was like, yeah, right? You don't fucking know. I don't know. What I do know is we're in a world of fucking hurt around here. I'm not making excuses. I'm saying, what's the most plausible answer? That's probably the one. These people are fucking scum. They think Trump is scum. What are the Democrats saying about Trump talking to Obama and Obama laughing about it? You know, the jokes I saw were, you know, Trump was asking how big, Michelle Michaels' dick is. Wow, it's huge. It's huge. It's huge. Right? It's huge. Right? Who knows? Anyways, it's a great question. It's a great topic. And the question, Trump guy, I want to thank you. The question needs to be asked. And I will provide as many answers and opinions and perspectives as possible. Do I trust these people? Fuck no. Do I watch them like a hawk? You bet your ass I do. Do I have hope for the future? Of course. I need to have some kind of fucking hope. Am I naive? Not a fucking chance. Am I overly optimistic? No, I'm not. Have you ever been chased by the fucking U.S. Army rugby team wanting to kill you? I have, right? It doesn't look good. There's one little narrow gap between the whole lot of them, and you try and fish your way through it without getting mauled and killed. That's what I think we are doing right now. The world out there is just full of people wanting to destroy America, our laws, our rules, our culture, our traditions, everything virtuous about life and freedom and liberty. They want to destroy it. And we've got to somehow navigate our way through that and make it through this alive and bring with us our families and our wealth and our belief systems and our laws and our Constitution, right? But we're going to get hit and knocked around. Shit's going to be rough. And by the way, when the Army and the Marine Corps played rugby, when I played that game, there was a lot of pain. You don't get through that real well. Right. Anyways, great question. Great topic. We need to ask these questions and go through it. I'm not just going to blow up and get mad and scream, how dare he talk to that guy? You know, that's childish. Right. How many times, and I've done this, have you gone up and talked to someone really polite and said, hey, I haven't seen you in a while. You know, I heard you spent some time in prison and you got your ass reamed every night in the fucking shower. You know, you're some kind of special flagget, aren't you? And just talk to them real polite. Act like you're talking real nice so everyone else doesn't suspect you're about to, you know, give someone a fucking right hook. Right? You can talk nice to people and put a smile on your face while you insult the shit out of them. We don't know. I sure hope he insulted the fuck out of him too. Like I hear Michelle's going to be the next Chewbacca. I guess they're going to save some fucking money on makeup, huh? All right, Mikey G says, Michael Obozo skipped the Carter wake. Was it really a wake? You know what a wake is, right? Wake is where they've got the body prepared for funeral, for burial, and you have a party. See if you can wake the dead. Literally. Carter already looked like a fucking mummy before he died. So anyways, yeah. Michael, Michelle, Obozo. Oh, fuck, that's good. That's good. That's fucking rich. Yeah. Michael couldn't go. And Chin Music has the scoop. He's got the scoop on this news story. Headline, Mike couldn't find dress to hide his bulge. Woo! Because it's huge. It's huge, I tell you. Huge. You'll never see another one like it. Never. Nope. I looked. You'll never see one that huge. All right. That's about as good as my Trump impression goes. Huge. I thought I was huge. Not quite. Anyways, let us continue. We're almost out of time. The hour has gone by. Tomorrow is Friday. We'll do 0 dark 30. It's going to be a dark, cold day in Florida, folks. It's going to drop below 70. Thank you, Uman. And then we're going to do Friday, free for all, same bat time, same bat channel. Monday Night Live, folks, is going to be special. I promise you that. Sunday Night Live, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll be live on X, YouTube, thepreparedmind.club, our flagship website, as well as Subscribestar and BitChute and Rumble and Facebook and Instagram and CashApp. No, wait, that's a money thing. That's not a. Which one was the money slash? Which one's the money slash social media? I can't fucking remember. They tried so many different things that stick. I think we got a good thing going on X. You guys be cool. Chance Favors, The Prepared Mind is yours.